The college basketball season is here, and in Indianapolis, it means Butler basketball. Thad Matta entering year 2 of stint 2 here at Butler. I go one-on-one with Coach on his expectations for this Bulldogs team.
I'm very excited, to be honest with you. You know, we've got a brand new basketball team, and you know, at this point, I've been very, very pleased with how these guys have come together as a unit. Now, we haven't faced adversity or anything like that, but I do think we're going to play a different style. I think that you know, it's going to be more of an exciting brand of basketball in terms of kind of going back to how I used to coach and you know, the type of players that I'm used to coaching. And like I said, I think Butler fans are going to be happy with what they see.
14-18 in year 1. What did you learn in year 1 of stint 2 that you didn't know maybe about your team or how things have changed since you were last year? And I know it's a different team, but what did you learn?
Yeah, well, I learned this. It's hard to coach a team when you're banged up all season. You know, and you look at last year's team, and I had said this, when the schedule came out, I said, if we win 18 games with this team, it'll be like winning the national championship. And we won 14 and only had our top 7 guys, 7 games out of 32. And that was hard. It really, really was. But I also learned how good the Big East is. You know, you look at the national champion from last year, finished 4th in our league. And this league is no joke. I mean, 13 years in the Big Ten, I came out of the Big East and said, hey, there's no difference in this league at all, and so you know, just we have to stay healthy, and we knew we had to go out and get more size, more athleticism, and more shooting.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about the Big East. I mean, they had quite the showing throughout the season, kind of beat up on each other, and then throughout the NCAA tournament as well. What makes it so difficult to be in a conference that good, where you're getting tested, you know, week in, week out, and then when you're trying to build a program as well?
Well, you know, it's funny because I look at the talent in the Big East. There's unbelievable players, there's unbelievable coaches, and you know, quite honestly, a lot like a home game at Hinkle, the venues that we play in on the road now are daunting. They really are, and I think, you know, just from the standpoint of it's coming every night. There's no nights off. You know, I remember when I was here back in the MCC, which became the Horizon League. You know, I could look at the preseason schedule and say, okay, if we play our B game here, we're going to win, and if C game at home, we're going to win this game. Nowadays, there's no guarantees now.
So 9 new players, 6 via the transfer portal, and in this kind of age of college basketball, you could remake a roster kind of like that. What can you tell me about the newcomers on this team, and kind of with that as well? Is it difficult, or is there a challenge there of maintaining the culture you want when you have so many new faces?
Yeah. Well, I tell you this, Dominic, I think that was one of the biggest things that we set out to do in terms of when we went in and started recruiting in the spring. Was we wanted to establish a culture. We wanted to get guys in here that you know, fit Butler, fit my coaching style. I think from the standpoint of and something that was very important is guys that had something to prove. You know, you look at Posh Alexander, Jamil Telford, Pierre Brooks, DJ Davis, geez, we got so many of them, I'm trying to think here. Andre Screen, you know, those guys they came in here and they've got something to prove, and you know, they're all very intelligent kids. They're veterans, and they understand that this is a team game. You can't play this game by yourself, and you can't play for yourself. And I think from that perspective, it's been good for us.
Going through that first season back home, how is it to be back here and to be building a program in, you know, where you grew up and where is home for you?
Yeah, you know, it's funny because college basketball now, you go so fast and there's no breaks. And I don't know if I've really had the moment of like, you know, wow, it's good to be home, it's good to be back, because we have been on a pace since the day I took this job that has been relentless. And now I'll find myself at times, you know, in practice kind of looking around and saying like, wow, man, I can't believe I'm home, and you know, just kind of going through the memories that I had of being a player here, being a coach the first time here, and that is a good feeling to have.
And last thing I got for you, Coach, what can fans expect, and you kind of mentioned it off the top, of this Butler team, this brand of basketball, and what are your expectations for this season?
Well, I think this, I hope that they can expect we're going to compete. we're going to compete like crazy. You know, last year was a team going a 6-0 run on us, and we were done. And I'm hoping that we'll get out, we'll compete. I'm hoping that we are playing faster offensively. I've always been a coach that wanted to get up and down and play, and I think we're doing that right now. And then I think there's going to be an element of toughness to us. I think defensively, we know this. We're going to have to generate points off of our defense, and you know, in terms of expectations, to be quite honest, our motto is let's just win today. And that's one of the things I'm talking to these guys a lot about. Of we're not good enough to take days off. Our margin for error is going to be really small. We have to demand that we're getting better at all the little things in the game of basketball, all the things mentally it takes to be a great team and a great player.
Well, that's Thad Matta, head coach of Butler basketball. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.